I've spent £250 on, I guess you could say, 10 items for this video. The idea is that we buy broken stuff on eBay, fix it, and sell it for a profit. Is it going to be a profit today? With Sally's spectacular spreadsheet, last week we made a profit of £52.51 for episode number 10 of this series, actually giving us a total loss of £77.49. Is today going to be the day we bring ourselves back into the positive? Our first batch of items are actually Nintendo Switch JoyCons, and for these I paid £110. I have a total of 9 JoyCons in this box, which equates to about £12 per JoyCon. I'm not sure on the exact price of one JoyCon, but I think I might be able to get around £20 if I'm able to fix it, meaning £8 profit per JoyCon. Imagine. What's actually nice about these JoyCons is the condition of them isn't too bad. Plus, they're in pairs. I've got the pairs the wrong way around, but you get what I mean. They also come with the protector connectors as well. I will dive into these in a second, but I do want to show you item number 2 quickly. My luck with these recently hasn't been that great. Therefore, I decided to waste even more money and buy another one in the hope of fixing it. I only paid £140 for this Xbox Series X, and the SSD in them is worth more than that on its own. If I can get this working, we're looking at some good profit. We'll start with the controllers. Let me take the covers off of all of them first. A huge thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring today's video. PCBWay offer many different services for all of your DIY needs. Standard PCBs, advanced PCBs, and even flexible PCBs. And hey, if you wanted to select red solder mask for your PCB, you can. They currently have great special prices on both their Flex and Rigid Flex PCBs. They also offer services such as CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection molding. Check out the link in the description for a $5 welcome bonus. The eBay listing for the Nintendo Switch JoyCons state that all of the controllers connect to the Switch but have drift issues, and that the seller hasn't properly tested them, which is why they were selling them as spares and repairs. So in this clip, I'm basically just testing all of the JoyCons. I've come to the conclusion after some testing, at least that these ones need the analog sticks changed, so they all have some sort of stick drift on the analogs. These ones over here, at the moment, seem to be testing fine, but I need to charge them up because I'm unable to test the buttons that we have here, so the SL and the SR. I'm also unable to test the wireless functionality and if they hold an actual charge. Also, the Nintendo Switch I have here doesn't currently have a charging port, and I don't know if I can trust the rails, because sometimes on a lot of the JoyCons, when I was wiggling it about, they were disconnecting, but I actually think that's more so to do with the rails we have here on the Nintendo Switch rather than the JoyCons themselves. And for that reason, I'll do another full test on a different Nintendo Switch after we've done the analog sticks. Let's grab a blue mat pat. I'll show you swapping one of the sticks out, but I'm obviously not going to show you all of them. Here's our analog sticks, and funny enough, I actually have 9 of the black ones left, and I think I have around about 7 or 8 of the white ones. I bought these ones off AliExpress. I've used them in the past and they work absolutely fine. To get into the JoyCon, we need to use a tri-wing screwdriver, which is the same screw bit that you have on the Nintendo Switch itself. And I believe we have 4 of them, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Although not advised, you can use a metal prying tool here. Probably best, especially because it's quite thin plastic, to use plastic, but I like to do silly things. So I've just inserted my prying tool down here and given it a little twist. Now we have the JoyCon open. Unplug the battery wire that we have here, good. And take the battery out. I didn't mean to pop it like that. Move our antenna, swap over to our Phillips head and undo a few screws. Lovely jubbly. Pull and then turn this unit just like that. There is a very small ribbon cable that we need to be super careful of just up here. Undo the 2 Phillips screws that we see here, holding the analog stick in. Finally, we have a little black clasp here, so we're just going to lift that up and pull on the analog stick ribbon cable very, very gently, and then we should be able to just lift this out with our fingers. There we go, just like so. This is our old analog stick. Now we grab our new one. We call this one Steve, and just do exactly what I've done in reverse. And now, as long as I've not dispatched anything in the process, just slide that in there, making sure that we have all the seams closed, which looks okay. We have our new Joy-Con installed. Now, I bought these a couple of months ago, and I think since Nintendo now do free joystick analog replacements. I could be wrong, so please don't take that as 100% true information, but I vaguely recall seeing an article on it. I'll test them all at the end rather than individually. In my honest opinion, I don't think changing analog sticks on Joy-Cons is good money, especially when you count eBay fees, parts and time. I do, however, think it's a great starting point for someone who is wanting to get into repairing electronics or even modding. Most electronic devices have some sort of ribbon cable and lots of small SMD components. Sometimes even just getting the feel for how these slot in the connectors will help in future electronic repairs. You may have noticed I didn't unplug unplug the battery with some of these, and that's extremely stupid. When you replace a stick on one of these Joy-Cons, not all of the time, but most of the time, you then have to calibrate it on the console, which I have been doing, and I don't have any issues with any of these controllers. These four here that are supposedly fine, I need to charge fully and just test to make sure they are all good, but they don't have any analog issues. I don't have a charging dock for these Joy-Cons, so I need to charge them individually, well, in pairs. It'll probably take me a full day or so to charge all of them. Let's move on to some actual electronic repair and see if we can fix the issue with this Xbox Series X. Condition-wise, not too bad. Again, I paid £140 for it, so it's expected to not be in the best of condition. We are missing the sticker here, which covers up this screw. This console does, however, have no power. Let's plug it in and see if we blow our fuse board. No, we don't, and I hear a crackle, which is good news, as that's usually a good indication the power supply is okay. Does it power on? No. So we get no power, nothing on eject, nothing on power. Let's get inside the console and see exactly what's going on. Okay, let's get to testing, shall we? I'm first off going to test the power supply just to ensure that we're definitely getting 12 volts coming out of it. Power in, again, I can hear a crackle. Here's my multimeter. Now let's just make sure, shall we? Do we have 12 volts? 12 volts on that one, good. Do we have 12 volts on this connector as well? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Yes, we do. So power supply is good. Now we're going to have a short somewhere on this board that is stopping the 12 volts from turning on the console. In which case we're going to take our multimeter again, and it's in continuity mode, which is the mode that beeps. We have a complete circuit, and we're going to see if we have a short on the top board or the bottom board, because there are two separate boards on the Xbox Series X. So black probe on ground, and let's test for a 12 volt short here. No, okay, so we have the negative pin and the positive pin. The positive pin, we do not get a short. If we put our probes on the bottom board, so we have 22 ohms there, and we also have 22 ohms here. So we have a short on the bottom board, which is always the case on these. I've had one at work where it was the top board, and luckily that was just a little capacitor that was causing the issue. I removed it and it was working. But of course on the Joey Does Tech channel, they all seem to be a little bit more frustrating. So we're going to separate the two boards. Oh, first I need to pull this cable. Squeeze in both ends and just pull it up slowly. Use the tab. There we go. Unfortunately, this is one of the older generation ones, and the reason I say that is because to get this board off now, I need to take off this metal clamp heatsink thing here. And the good news is that the SSD supposedly has been untouched. I'll get that sorted now, and then we'll head over to the microscope. All right, we're under the scope. I've got the heatsink clamp off, which covers the APU that you see here. What I'm looking for is any immediate visible damage. For those who have seen recent videos, these MOSFETs here seem to go bad. It's either the MOSFETs or the caps next to these MOSFETs. Now, if you ask me, there seems to be quite a bit more liquid around here, here, and here than the rest of these MOSFETs. I've had issues on this MOSFET before and this MOSFET, as well as very recently, I think it was this cap here or this cap. If I measure continuity here, I will get a short to ground, okay? I always get this the wrong way around, but either I think it's this is meant to be positive and not ground, whereas this side is actually meant to be negative and therefore ground. I'm most probably just going to inject voltage to see if that can show us exactly what the issue is. But again, this is our 12 volt test point, which is going to be short to ground. We have a 5 volt test point here, so I'm going to check this one. So we don't have a short on the 5 volt line, that's good. I believe our 3.3 is around here somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Here, 3.3 standby is this test pad. And we don't seem to have a short on the 3.3 rail, which is good. And this is, I think, 12 volts. Yes, this is a 12 volt rail as well, again, which is showing as bad. I'm going to inject voltage now, starting with 0.5 volts, just to see. I'm pretty sure this is the positive side. So we get a 2 amp draw with 0.5 volt. That should be enough if I go over to the heat cam now to at least see something getting hot. If not, we will slowly increase that to see if we get a heat signature. Here we have our flare cam. I'm going to inject voltage again at the connector, and it doesn't look like anything on this side at least is getting hot. And again, 2.1 amps being drawn. Let's turn it over and just look for the slightest bit of heat here, okay? Like I said, it's usually this rail up and down here. So I'm going to inject now. Nothing that I can see on the board in particular getting hot. And again, nothing on this rail. Last time I done this, it was the smallest heat increment you can imagine. I'm not getting anything with this amount of draw, these two little spots here. I'm going to increase the voltage a tiny bit. We're going to go 1 volt now and see if anything lights up. Anything on this rail in particular getting hot. Anything on the board. Nothing out of the ordinary getting hot. Let's turn it back round to the main side now and see if I get anything on this side. So again, we're injecting 4.6 amp draw. Do we get anything? Oh, wait a minute. We get something here lighting up like a Christmas tree. That's very interesting. And here we actually have the thermal putty. So let me just scrape some of this off. All right, here we go. I've removed some of the putty. What is it? Oh, you are lighting up. Shine bright like a diamond. Let's go under the scope. I want to say it's either this little component here, this cap, or this cap here, which is causing our short. Let's put some isopropyl alcohol on and see which one dissolves the alcohol, because that will pinpoint it. Is it any of these? It might be that one. Look at that. This one right here. Or maybe not. Maybe it's the one above. Maybe it's this cap here. Which one is it? Reveal yourself. Maybe it's not any of those. Let's go up one more. Is it any of these? I don't think it is. It could be either of them, to be fair, the way that this dissolving the alcohol. Or it might be that. Is it that cap on the left? I think it's this cap. Yeah, look at that. You see the isopropyl alcohol just dissolving from it really quickly? Just here on the left. This one where I'm literally touching it. And then if I remove it and then put it back on. Yeah, I think it's that one. I think we found it. I think we found the culprit. There is, however, only one way to find out, and that's to mark it with our gold Sharp A, which I don't think is wise, to be honest. Let's try that again, shall we? No, okay. All right, let's just get it off. As always, this might not even be our issue. I feel like the juiciest way to find out if it's a short is to put the probes on either side of the cap, because if we have a continuous path through the capacitor, it's a bad cap. Here we go. Do we have our culprit? No. Oh, yes. Yes, we do have our culprit. Okay, it messed me around there for a little bit. I think anyway, let's test the line now. No short, our short seems to be gone. And if we test on this side, which is the side I originally thought the issue was, as I said previously, I'm pretty sure this is negative. So I should get a beep here. I do get a beep here, and the top shouldn't be. And it's not, there we go. So we have a beep on the bottom, no beep on the top. Our 12 volt short is gone. It wouldn't be right for me to just leave that cap not there, so I will transfer a capacitor from my donor board over to this Series X. I think it would work fine because there was two big caps on that same line, but it's better to be safe than sorry. In which case, the only thing left to do now is to give it a quick test and just make sure that that short is gone. Now, I got rid of a 12 volt short on another Series X in a video a few weeks back. I'll leave a link to it, this side, not that side. But it then became a beep on, beep off. I hope that is not the scenario with this one. And obviously it would be criminal not to sort out the thermal paste. Lovely. Console has been put back together in all of its glory, and again, it's looking in okay condition. I just hope it doesn't power on and then power off, because that would destroy me. Plug it in, the power. Again, nice healthy crackle is what we love to hear. HDMI cable has also now been put in, and it feels really stable actually. I'm over on the Elgato game scene. However, what happens when we push the power button? It powers on, no beep, but it powers on. Do we get anything on the screen? Please, please. And don't power off, please. It's still on. It's still on. We get a black screen. Let's go. I just punched myself in the headset. However, we're good. It still has the person's account who sold it to me, I'm assuming, and it's all fixed. We have a working Xbox Series X. I've got an Xbox game here. Let me put this in and see if the disk drive actually works. Okay, so it takes in a disk. There we go. Yes, so the disk drive works. He managed to get his disk out, however. Extremely happy that is up and running. So I've not been so lucky with previous Xbox Series X's. Let's now head over to editing Joey, who will give us the final status on the JoyCons. Then onto Sally's spectacular spreadsheet. I feel like today is going to be a good one. The JoyCons are charged. Not every single one of them worked. There was actually 3 controllers in total that needed this replacing because these buttons specifically weren't working. I think it's the SL and SR buttons. So that also eats into the cost a little bit, but I paid £2 for 2 of them. So it's not too bad. Other than that, every single one of them is fine, which I'm actually very shocked about. But the cost, as I stated at the beginning of the video, £250. In total, I used 5 analog sticks for the JoyCons, and I get them at about 50p each. They're very cheap, which gives us £2.50. Plus the 3 SL rails buttons gives us a total of £5.50 for parts. This is where it gets interesting. At the moment, I see JoyCons go from anywhere like £16 to £20 for one Joy-Con. So I'll call it £18 bang in the middle for the Joy-Con. So if we go 9 times 18, this gives us a total of 162. That's if we were just selling the Joy-Cons. An Xbox Series X console only, again, the price varies, but the sold ones I've just looked at
go from 300 to 350. I'll meet in the middle for the sake of the video again, £325. So 162 plus £325 gives us 487. If I update that to 487, our gross profit in today's video is £197.90, which I believe is my most profitable video yet. Best part about it is I didn't use any cost for the Series X. It was just that little tiny capacitor. If you're enjoying watching this series, I'll leave a playlist here where you can start from the beginning to see how I started to where I am now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.